WW7ATS checking in. Disconnected.
This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. I'm Dave, 87ZYM. The Western Washington Amateur Television Society is a group of amateur radio enthusiasts that takes the airways with fast-scan television. We have a repeater located on Cougar Mountain. We transmit on 70 centimeters. Crossband repeater and puts out images at 1.2 gigahertz with an input of 70 centimeters. Again, this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net. I'm Dave, 87ZYM. The Western Washington Amateur Television Society net is held on Wednesdays and Saturdays between 8 and 9 o'clock. So at this point I'll pause in case anybody has emergency traffic or wishes to make a contact before our net gets fully underway. Hearing on again, this is Dave, 87ZYM, and this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net. I'm Dave, 87ZYM. So far, signed into our net is Vaughn, 87QJU, Bert, M7CS, James, just a second. James, WW7N, Lee, N7KC, and Wade. W7ITL, and Richard, K7ITX. Anybody else that wishes to check in?
And 7QO.
Last buddy, try again.
And 7QO.
And N7QO, we have you. Thank you. And again, is anybody else that would like to check into our net?
KF7UHK.
And we have you, Jessica, KF7UHK. Let's start off the net. We'll start with Jessica, KF7UHK.
KF7UHK over here, and Jessica over here in Everett, where we spent most of the day up in Mount Vernon working on our solar shed. That's a little construction we're making around our inverter on the side of our house, so that when the sun comes out, it won't beat down on the inverters, which will make it, less efficient. So we've been building this shed, and so far we've been building it mostly inside the garage, and we started putting it up today, and tomorrow we're going to finish it off, put a little roof on it. We have a door ready to put on it, and it's not actually part of our house, even though if you look at it from a distance it looks like it is, but we didn't actually connect it to our house, so that if anybody says we didn't get a building permit, we didn't need one. So it's not very big, but it's big enough to keep the sunshine from beaming down in the summertime, because it's a southern facing unit that gets a lot of sun. So that's what we were doing today. We had some SPA tonight, and been watching Below Deck on TV. So send it back to you. It's KF7 UHK.
KF7 UHK, thanks for that. Let's try to put in for the 7K. Okay, I'm giving it a try. Alright, sounds like it looks like I'm in. Okay, well, Echo-Link is kind of noisy tonight on the receiver, lots of touchiness and whatnot. Anyway, N7KC, we put in this. Okay, good evening to you folks. I won't call you off the name, but yeah. Jessica, by golly, we put a shed up on the west side of our house. 12 or 14 by 6, maybe, I don't know. And so I wanted to pour a concrete pad and all that. It's a tech shed. They came in and built it. And I went down to see the city down, and I said, well, can I attach this to the house? Can I get a permit to do that? Don't need a permit, they said. Go ahead and attach it. Not a problem. So I did. The two great big old lights through the top, right into part of the, I don't know where it was, it's a split level, but it didn't come out of the wall on the inside anyway. So I did that and didn't have to get a permit. Well, let's see, this afternoon, I got to my weather station, I think on the Weather Underground. I haven't seen it show up there yet, but they said it takes a little while for for all the credentials to get sorted out. But I went and got an account started with Weather Underground, and I got the station ID and the key, and then you go back to your application and you pop those in the right spot, and presumably everything went okay. I don't know yet because I haven't found it, but it seemed like it did. So I don't have anything else at the moment. This is S7KC, waiting for that inspection date. N7KC, thanks for that. Let's go into Marysville to put N7CS.
Okay, well, good evening, everyone. Let's see what I have on the list. I missed last Wednesday's net, so I didn't hear from Jessica how her steak dinner went, if she managed to run into Dave's son or not. Oh, okay, cool. And let's see, and Jessica, you mentioned the solar stuff. That reminded me, I got a letter from the SnowPud people a couple weeks ago saying, I guess, the net metering program here is gone, so they offered to come remove the extra meter that they put on my house for the panels if I didn't want it anymore. But I plan to just keep it because I'd like to actually see how much they're generating. But that's a little odd. But okay. So there's some messages going on with Rob. He's thinking about setting up a beacon for 1296 megahertz or 23 centimeters, probably like at East Tiger or something like that. But I had a side question for him, asking him about, do you know for sure if East Tiger is north or south of Line A? And it turned, because all the maps I was looking at showed it was north of A. But it turns out, if you plug it into the FCC tool, it is actually south of A by like 100 meters or 200 meters. So that could potentially open up some really cool opportunities with an extra 10 megahertz of bandwidth for us at 70 centimeter if we were to do something at East Tiger. But yeah, I guess maybe my map wasn't taking into account curvature of the Earth or something, but it was just enough to push East Tiger south of A. But anyway, that's enough for now. This is Bird and Marysville, N7CS, back to net.
N7CS, let's go to Kent to Richard, K7ITX.
Yeah, kind of a lazy sort of afternoon for me. I had another one of those weeks that, I think I told you the story, how they kept one of our customers, stand by. Good. Hi, Ron. Ron just showed up. So, what was I saying? I told you the story how we have a customer that has changed, let's see, let me get my mug back there. Okay, there we go. Kept changing finishes and they canceled various orders and things of that nature. So, they went with my new idea, my new proposal. I got the green light, and so I was all happy about that. But come Friday afternoon, and even today, I'm just kind of worn out. Even though it's a 23-hour work week, which is pretty tame in most books, for me, I don't know. It's worked, and but I don't know why I like it. It's a challenge, and it's a good guy. It isn't my customer that keeps changing things on me. It's his customer. So I'm free removed from the people really calling the shots, which is probably a good idea because sometimes I have a hard time controlling my mouth, and as you guys well know. So anyway, let's just keep it right on rolling. KD7ZIM, K7ITX, back to that control.
K7ITX, let's go to Tacoma to Wade, W7ITL.
Alright, I'm on RF tonight, so let's see if we get checked in.
I have some notes here I took from earlier today. I went up to the W7DK clubhouse and was able to talk to a few of the folks there. And it sounds like, I didn't know this, but there may be some K7 TED, W7 TED equipment that is being stored in their clubhouse. So it was pulled off site from Camp Murray, I think. So we might have some ATV gear we can acquire for the club if anybody wants to look into that. And then I've been exploring some ideas about possibly entertaining I don't know what you guys want me to do with it, but an analog repeater at the channel 28 tower, and also possibly getting another ATV repeater up there. So I did get a chance to talk to a few of the folks that might be able to entertain that, so I might have more updates about that later. Let's see, I'm going to break for a second. So, Jessica, you got your shed. I didn't write down exactly what the shed was for. It said something about solar panels and inverters and protecting them, so we'll have to get more updates for you on the next round. Let's see. And the 1.2 gigahertz beacon, that's cool. And maybe we might have an opportunity to use Titan as an ATV site. So I'll be looking forward to hearing more about that. But this is W7ATS back to that.
W7ATS, let's go to Covington, N7QO, and we'll get an idea here first. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 repeater. I'm Dave, KD7CYM. So let's go to Jeff, N7QO.
N7QO, thank you, Dave. Well, good evening, everyone. I am transmitting from the shack now. So hopefully I sound a little better than when I was on my HT. I am transmitting RF video, but I don't really see it over the repeater shack. I can see my picture. I have a monitor set up to receive my transmitted signal. But unfortunately it doesn't look like it's quite making it to Cougar all that well. Let's see. Lee, thanks about the weather station. I'm going to have to look into that a little bit when I remember. Bert, yeah, good for mentioning the beacon, 23 centimeter beacon coming up on Tiger. I will have to figure out if there might be some way I could receive it, just for information. From my location, a whole lot of trees have grown up, and it seems to be a problem for especially cougar, but tiger as well. So I'm not real sure anymore how well I can receive anything. And Jessica, let's see, that solar shed will probably keep your inverter from having a meltdown there. That's really good. Back to you, Dave, and 7QO.
And 7QO, thanks for that. And that also acknowledges Gary, K7HYB has signed in. So let's go to James, WU7ATS.
Thank you, Dave. This is James, WU7 in Northeast W. Well, Jessica, it sounds like you're doing some serious solar engineering there, because I, too, had a little tiny distraction here, so I didn't quite hear that there was a shadow in the way. So there's two of us that need clarification of what was going on. The thing that really got my attention, though, is I can't believe Lee actually had a municipal organization tell him he had no permit requirement. kind of like, I mean, here in Bellevue, if you just say, do I need a permit, they'll just interrupt you and say yes. And then, maybe, then let you finish your sentence, because you need a permit for picnics, you need a permit for anything. And yes, Jessica, I think you're onto something there. The sales tax revenue here in Bellevue dropped off to, a fraction of what it used to be because of COVID. And I know there was a panic layoff, and then there was all sorts of other things, interesting things happening in the city workforce, and now they're actually hiring people again. But I don't know how they're paying for them. But I would imagine if you want to install something like, a sprinkler in your front yard, you probably have to pay a permit for that. The hose is a separate permit too. And each time you roll it out, you probably have a permit. Now we qualify for celebrity weather status. Weather actually gets put on those two. So we'll have to look for your little identifier there and put that up on the screen as soon as it shows up. Thank you for. A lot of people think I just, intentionally annoy Canadians. No, I just do it accidentally all the time. This is another excellent way to do it. Point a directional antenna 100 yards south of the line B and aim it north. No, not really. We wouldn't do that. But anyway, that's good news because I didn't know that. I have looked at probably the same map you're looking at all the time. I didn't realize that East Tiger was south of the line. And I guess to be just probably not only want to check with water, but also check to find out if there's anyone up there. I've never been able to find out why that is. I mean, I just have always accepted it, that if it annoys them, then we shouldn't do it. But if anybody on the channel knows why do the Canadians not want us to transmit in that band space, I'd like to hear. So anyway, with that question, I will turn it back to our net control Dave for the Western Washington Amateur Television Society. Take it away, Dave.
WW7ATS, thanks for that. This is Dave, and this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. As far as the question of why we were forgotten to transmit on our 70 centimeter transmission, was I do believe taxicabs in Vancouver operate on the 70 centimeter frequency that our ATV is on. And here in Lake City, I got 21 degrees, partly cloudy, and boy, today it's been watching the Olympic Games, and oh my, seeing these young athletes out there perform is just miraculous. They're so well tuned in their bodies and their movements and all the sporting events that they're in. And again, this is Dave, 87ZYM. Is my audio not going out?
Connected at 7KC.
And I guess I've got audio that's going out on 87ZYM. Let's go up to the top of the list to Ron, KD7QKU.
It's interesting, KD7QK. I wasn't going to join in, but I guess I have to. The taxi cabs in Canada was probably using that frequency 30 years ago or 40 years ago. They're probably not doing it at all now. I mean, that's just an old excuse. If you really need to know, you need to check it out. It just seems like, that stuff goes on. It's like an urban legend. And James, you're talking about permits. I lived in Bellevue. I built an addition on my house with a walk-in closet in the bathroom. Never got a permit. I built all that stuff on my property. Never got a permit. And when I sold it, it was no problem at all. I didn't want to get a permit because I didn't want to pay all the extra taxes. I figured, they catch me, I'll pay the taxes. What pissed me off was I heard about a guy that was going to build a garage once, and then he decided not to. So the county or the city or whatever, they taxed him for the garage, and he never built it. So he found that out. So he went back and he asked them if he could have the money back, and they said, no way. So I decided that I would wait until they caught me before I started paying taxes. And well, I guess what I really want to know is, Bird, did you try to get into that 442-450 repeater? Could you reach it today? Maybe that wasn't a yes? I don't know. I guess I can wait till the next round. So anyway, I'm not feeling very good, and I really was just going to listen and not participate much, but I would check out the taxi cabs in Canada and find out what frequency they operated on before I worried about it. I thought it was the radar that was over there in Magnolia, that low ground radar that they were putting in that was causing us some problems, but I don't know. All right, that's it. KD7QKU.
KD7QKU, thanks for joining the net. Ron, sorry to hear you're under the weather a little bit. Let's go to Jessica, KF7UHK.
KF7UHK, Bellevue. That's that. When it comes to cost of things. Let's see. Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, delicious. Dave Mann's son has less hair than Dave Mann. So he was very nice. Came out and talked to us and asked about what the occasion was, and we introduced everybody. And it was a very nice and delicious food. I had the 16-ounce ribeye along with a roast baked potato, and it was absolutely lick smack and good. It went down. The whole thing went down. Really good. Solar shed. This is a little enclosure around the inverter box that the solar panels go to, which is all sitting on the south face of our place in Mount Vernon. So we've made this little solar shed to kind of deflect the sunlight so it's not beating down on it all day. Normally I have some reflectix around it, so it kind of looks like something on a spacecraft to reflects on. And it does a pretty good job at that, but this will just kind of protect a little bit more from the elements and keep the inverters nice and cool and running efficiently. We have a door for it and everything. We bought a door from this place next door to our Mount Vernon home. It's like a surplus store that has all sorts of surplus building materials. And the 23-hour week, 23 hours a week, Richard, I think that sounds glorious. I think that's all you really need. And I wish I could have done that most of my career, but I didn't have that choice. So that's all you got from here. KF7UHK.
KF7UHK, let's go to Lee, M7KC, and Port Angeles for a second volley.
Okay, M7KC with CPA. Well, a lot of things are going on there. I'm glad to see Ron show up, by the way. You guys are cool. Anyway, I did go off and check the weather on the ground, and sure enough, my data shows up there. It's just I don't know how to get to it from the outside yet. But I will shortly. Anyway, so I don't know, I'm just having some fun with that thing. I'm waiting for it to rain so I can see if the last thing on it works. The hepatic rain gauge hasn't shown anything yet. I went out today and threw some water on it, thought maybe that would do it, but it's loaded with AI. It's got some fancy algorithm, and I'm sure I can tell the difference between me splashing water on it and it actually raining. At least that's what I hope. We'll see. I have everything else. I'm just going to enjoy the net tonight. So it's in 7KC in Port Angeles. Thanks to you, Dave.
M7KC, let's go to Bird, Marysville, M7CS.
Okay, let's see, a couple things. Ron, sorry to hear you're not feeling so well. But to answer your question about whether I could hit that Tacoma, channel 28 tower, those repeaters from my house, I could chuck both the 2-meter and 70-centimeter repeater, but the 2-meter, when it came back, it was unreadable. The 70-centimeter, despite it only hitting like F1 on the meter, I could actually hear it okay, like the first time I did it, but I tried again maybe about an hour later, and it was unreadable. So, so it's pretty, and no, that was just using my standard vertical antenna. I didn't do any Yagi or anything like that, so that was just a vertical Omni. But that was my experiment from trying to hit that tower. let's see. Oh, Jim, you mentioned you're back in your shack. So I know you weren't doing that for a while because you weren't feeling too great. But does that mean you're feeling a lot better now? Hopefully you're doing good. And then let's see. Oh, someone mentioned solar engineering. That reminded me. The XM radio in my car expired, so I was actually listening to the free over-the-air radio stations, and I was listening to one of these AM stations, and there was actually an advertisement for portable nuclear reactors. I assume this is more for investment and not for buying them. But I don't know. Maybe they thought there were some people out there with a couple of million or billion. I don't know how much this thing cost to buy, but yeah, I was just surprised to hear a radio advertisement for portable nuclear reactors. And let's see what else we have. That's probably good for now. This is Burton Mercill and 7CS. Back to that.
In 7CSM, the net welcomes Gary back, K7HYB.
Yes, good evening. Do I have a repeater?
You're there.
Well, I'm just sitting here listening, and I was going to give you a little report, but for some reason or another, the app on my phone that links me to my weather station has failed. And I can't figure it out. I've been listening a little bit, but I've been participating. I've been kind of busy with some of the work I'm doing here for my clients, and so consequently I'm taking every opportunity to use the time to keep busy. And I've heard a lot of chatter about the 4-4. I didn't quite sure catch what it was all about next time around. Somebody maybe fill me in on something about a repeater in Tacoma on 440. And I was reading the mail on the repeater site that we're working on. Apparently they didn't realize they had that many repeaters in their area. They must be having some DMR and some other deals like that. Stuff that I'm not into right at the moment. And we'll be here, everything I have to say. Anyway, I just thought I'd jump in and say hello, let you know that I was still alive. At least for the moment, anyway. Anyway, back to you, Dave. Pass it on, K7HYB.
K7HYB, thanks for that. And it's ID time again. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society Net on the OA machine. I'm Dave, 87EYM. Let's go to Richard, K7ITX in Kent.
So yeah, Gary, I can answer your question on that 70 centimeter repeater. The owner belonged to, he's passed away. You met Scott at the Hamfest about 5 or 6 years ago. Scott, NB7N. He was the owner of that repeater. WW7ATS is the name of the repeater. And then the couple trustees took over, and one of the trustees recently died, this past July or August. And so now there's just one trustee left. Unless Wade's got more information, I don't know. But the problem has always been no access to the repeater itself. So it's not quite a ghost repeater, but maybe it really is. We were talking about that at the business meeting today. So that's what that's all about, and I think Bert was doing an experiment to see if he could reach it or not.
for me to reach. In fact, I've got a hand-me-down antenna from Jessica and Ron for just that particular purpose. It's about 8 foot long, 15 or 16 elements. It does the trick. It's been at least 2 years since I've had it hooked up and tried to reach anybody down there. So I'm up to the task. If and when it ever becomes something that everybody wants to use, I think it'd be a worthy effort. So that's all. Well, KD7ZYM, K7ITX, back to net control. K7ITX, thanks for that, Luther. Let's go to Tacoma to Wade, W7ITX. Is it possible that somebody could switch me in on RF? Oh, there we go, perfect. I did get a chance to talk to one of the trustee trustees for the W7TED repeater's son, John, KI7YRC. I did get to talk to him today. Neat guy, really seems like a pretty sharp guy. We talked a little bit about what he had access up there on that repeater, and it sounds like he has all the codes to get in there. But as far as getting physically on the site, I think he said maybe he knew maybe a contact or two, kind of the same contact that I had mentioned earlier in the last go-round, that I might be able to convince to get me in there and take a look at the repeater and if there's any more room and if they'd be willing to let us use room on that tower. I'll talk more about it later. This is going to probably be my last round for a few rounds. I might check in right before the end of the net. I have to check in with another net here now. But nice service tonight. And Ron, sorry to hear you're not feeling good tonight. And nice to see you, Gary, on your video. So thanks for everybody. And I will talk to you guys all in a little bit, hopefully. W7ITL back to net. W7ITL, wait, thanks for that. Let's go on to Jim in Covington, M7QO.
M7QO, thank you, Dave. Ron, sorry you're not feeling all that well. Hang in there, hope it's not the virus to which you were recently exposed. Wow. And Gary, good to hear from you. Let's see. Bert, you were saying something. Yeah, I am actually feeling quite a bit better than I was a few months ago. October and November were, oh my God, bad months. December I was slightly better. January I was considerably better. And now I'm slightly better than considerably better. So, anyway, I'm trying from the shack right now, so I can see RF. I can see that I'm interfering with the, well, maybe not, interfering with the picture a little bit, but nothing significant. My stream stopped working here. So there's something with the Wi-Fi connection between here and the house that just decided to go out to lunch or dinner probably. Might be just the time of day. Probably a lot of gamers or something come on now in my neighborhood. It does tend to make a difference around here, I've noticed. Oh well. K7ZYM and 7QO.
N7QO, thanks for that. Let's go to James in Bellevue, WU7S.
Okay, I've turned up my power a little bit. Is this helping any with the static relay at all? Okay, and I guess I'll leave it up there. It does interfere slightly with my own video monitor here, so I can definitely see I am transmitting a little more power. Anyway, Jim, I'm glad to hear you're back in the shack. That's wonderful news. And Ron, I'm glad to see you are participating tonight. And Gary, good to see you two again also. Wade, video signal report, and your signal is absolutely just rock solid. It was a solid 5. And also, you guys let me know how you want me to switch things. And let's see, okay, I remember years ago in Texas, back before this was kind of a thing, back when radio stations were supposed to be all professional and everything, I remember there was one radio station that really stepped outside the box and started with these strange advertisements on this strange thing. I don't recall a nuclear reactor being advertised, but there were things like, coyote attachments to go on the back of your combine, agricultural area, other just absolutely crazy things like that. And it worked. If people would listen during the advertising break, so these insane advertisements come, and meanwhile they would fill in the real advertisements, for Jose's used car lot or whatever. And so that did work. So then I do though know there was a Japanese company that was selling nuclear reactors. They were small, and their target audience was people who live like, this was before Siberia really developed oil and gas. They got so much natural gas up there, they're flaring it off. So I don't think they have an energy concern in that area of the world. But, for example, they also approached Alaska. And Alaska was very, very interested in these things. They buried them in the ground. And the idea was you bury these things in the ground, and they would be nuclear reactors until it was time to change the rods, and then it was like a major construction project to unbury them and get the rods changed out. I think it was just kind of the psychology of the whole thing, because actually I thought it was a great idea myself. There's still what you're going to get at that reactor, and they pretty much had a lot of the technology down to make it safe. And if something happened and it just needed to stay buried in the ground, that's where it would be. It's not like they've got, a lack of environmental problems using diesel, which is what they use now up there. So anyway, I thought that was a good idea, but I don't think it ever took off, so to speak. Lee, just a word of caution here. I would not do anything to make your AI angry at you by throwing water on it or anything. It seems to me like the AI inside your water sensor could really retaliate on that. You could come in one day and find all your water faucets going full blast. Who knows what else it could do. I would just say stay on good terms with it and wait for a normal rainstorm. That's my humble advice. And with that, I'm going to turn it back to our net control days for the Western Washington Amateur Television Society.
Thank you, James, WW7ATS. And again, it's time for an ID. This is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net. On the 08 machine, I'm Dave, 87BYM. And talk about ads on radio stations. I can remember once driving through Yakima, and there was a farm radio station that was on, and they had a bulletin board that was going on for people selling stuff from their houses. It was kind of like a garage sale, but on the radio. So that was kind of interesting usage of a commercial radio station. And that's about all I got to add for Lake City. So let's go back up to the top of the list and see if Ron's available. 87 QKU.
I'd like to pass. I just want to listen, you guys. KD7 QKU.
KD7 QKU. Thanks for that, Ron. Let's go to Jessica. KF7 UHK.
Tenasca, East OMAC. OMAC has a little station down there that did the Saturday morning garage sale on the air, and it was just a scream to listen to. It'd be like, I got six bicycles here, and if you put them all together, you can make 2 goods. And we got some used shirts here that still have some wear on them, and just a scream. I never wanted to put anything on it because I just laughed. We just turned on just to laugh. Just laugh and laugh. It was just so fun. It was OMAC. And we were up in the hills of Tenasca, between Tenasca and Republic. That's where we listened to it from while we were building our cabin. Let's see, tonight on Svengoolie, over on the MeTV, they have It, the Terror from Beyond Space. I don't know if I've seen it or not, but I'm sure I've got to tune in and see how bad it is. They've got the best of the bad, and that makes it fun. And then yesterday I had to take a drive down to Chehalis and back to go help out one of Sylvia's siblings. And so I made a trip down there. It was about 112 miles one way, and helped him out of a situation. And just because otherwise I'd be listening to NPR radio, which after 3 or 4 hours would probably get monotonous and/or repetitive and/or nail biting. I turned and found a Mexican radio station, and that's the best because I don't speak very much Spanish, and it was just fun to listen to and pick out words I could listen to. It's my way of learning Spanish the hard way. Just listen to the music, and so then I'd come home and type in some of the words I heard that I thought I knew what they were, and confirmed what they were, and so that was a lot of fun. So with that, I'm going to pass it back to Jessica up in there at KF7UHK.
KF7UHK, Jessica. Hola. Let's go to Lee instead of KC. Put Angeles.
Okay, very good. SMKC, WCA. Okay, now I have to try to show off my, oh boy, where is it? There we go. The Weather Underground. My stuff is now there. Lots of advertising and everything. You see, I don't have much history. I just started the other day. It's just sort of fun exercise to get it done. Stop the share. There we go. Okay. The other thing is that, let's see, today and some of tomorrow, British Columbia is having their CSO party. And so I made a few CW contacts today in the afternoon. 100 meters, and I got a station. Where was it? Oh golly. Maybe I wasn't transferring. Well, you probably saw, at least I got my Weather Underground going. I figured out how to do that. What I did was I looked up another station and then just placed in my station ID into it and gave it a try, and sure enough, it worked. So anyway, so we're good to go there. Except because I have the app from the website of the company, which is just ever so nice. I never go there. I just did it for fun. Anyway, I don't have anything else. This is M7KC here in Port Angeles. Back to you, Dave.
M7KC, we answered that. Let's go on to Bert in Marysville, M7CS.
Okay, tell a quick story about something. So about a year ago, I bought one of those home soda machines, so that it has the CO2 cylinder, and then you mix in the syrup to get your cheap sodas. Well, I've gone through a couple of the CO2 cylinders so far, and I learned that there's the local Target store has something where you can bring in your old cylinders, and they will give you another cylinder to replace it for half the price of what it would be if you bought a new one. So we went there today to try to swap them out. I brought my 2 cylinders, and they said, oh yes, unfortunately we're out of cylinders, so we can't actually do it right now. You'll have to come back another time. So I go, okay, whatever, no big deal. So my wife goes to take the cylinders and put them back in the car so that we can go and do our other shopping. Well, so while we're shopping, we find about, a pile of 16 to 20 cylinders that they have. So I pick up 2 of those. I send my wife back out to the car to go bring the cylinders back, and then I take the car over to the place to swap them out. I said, okay, I found you do actually have new cylinders here. My wife brought me in with them. They said, oh, no. Those are for new customers only. Those cylinders, you can't actually get those for the swap. We have different cylinders in the back that we have to give you. So it's oh, you're kidding. They said, no. If you want those, it's full price, not half price. So I called my wife on the phone and say, take them back to the car. So Now taking it back to the car for the second time, and I had to go do the remainder of the checkout. But yeah, so funny story there. But anyway, that's probably it. Well, no, one other thing, Lee, on your new weather station, we probably won't come back around to you, but maybe after the net. I think you mentioned that for the wind speed, it doesn't use a spinner, but does something else to determine the speed. So maybe you can talk about that a little bit later. But anyway, that's it for now. This is Burton Marysville, N7CS, back to net.
N7CS, thanks for that. And let's go to Gary, K7HYB and Multi.
Yeah, the voice of reason, clear Congo and Multi. I don't know. Maybe I'm not reasonable at all. I'm kind of dark there, I guess. I wonder if I have a little light, let's shut a light on so that I turn it on here. About 5 seconds of latency there. Oh, well, that's not much better, so I'll turn it off. I don't know why it's so dark tonight, but usually I'm plenty bright. Not necessarily bright, but lit up anyway. Well, I don't really have too much. I'm just trying to restore the weather app. I don't know what it dumped off of my phone, but I'm just trying to restore the weather app from the Jessica. Wow. Got them pretty wild there. Is that part of your menagerie there? Anyway, so I really don't have too much great significance to pass on to everybody. Just try to carry it on from day to day, like a lot of people want. I get out once in a while. We went shopping at Costco the other day, and that was a big outing. Pretty much staying home. I do see a bit of picture. I can see the thick one from the 1.2 gig repeater, and eventually those antennas are going to have to come down because finally got somebody to do the roof on my garage, so that's I'm going to have to take them all down and put them back up again when the garage is done, get the new roof on it. So enough of my babble. We'll see y'all. Probably won't get around to me again. And we'll keep tabs. I called Joanne, I called James today and told him I wanted to pay my dues. And so I have fuel box number so I can send him my check. Anyway, I'm still here. It's just a matter of me getting the itch to come on. Back to you, Dave, KD7ZYM, K7HYB, I'm sorry, there's
7HYB, thanks for joining the net this evening, Gary. And let's see, we need to go on to Richard, K7ITX. I better get an ID here. Yeah, this is the Western Washington Amateur Television Society net on the 08 machine. I'm Dave, KD7ZYM. So let's go to Richard, K7ITX.
Yeah, great to see you tonight, Gary. Boy, I'm sure missing Bob, K9PQ. Bob, if you happen to be listening, I hope you're doing well. And Ron, thanks for showing up. Hope you get better soon. And excuse me. So I got invited to a Super Bowl party. My son has invited me up to his house in Bellingham. I wish it were, nicer weather or summertime or something like that, but, I don't know, they're just, and then with the virus, I've done really good in, I guess not getting it. I mean, I guess that's not the easiest. It's pretty easy to get, so I think it's hard not to get it, and I've not gotten it, but it's just from trying to, just be cautious, and I don't go out in crowds, or if I am around people that I don't know, it's well ventilated, high ceiling, a lot of space between the people, like where I do my fitness workout. So, I don't know, I already told my son that I wasn't sure, and then I think I'll just have to decline. The idea of being in Bellingham, and then, you know, I'm not going to drive home after a game like that. All the party animals on the highway, that doesn't sound very safe. And then to wake up on a Monday morning, I guess, it's a work day in a lot of respects. Even though I don't have to, it still feels that way. I don't know. This whole pandemic has turned me into a homebody, so I'm just looking forward to nicer weather and my first trip to Sonoma, California on April 1st. So there you go. KD70IM, K7ITX, back to net control.
K7ITX, thanks for that. Let's go to Covington to Jim, N7QO.
N7QO, thank you, Dave. Well, let's see. Any chance you can go to the RF input on the repeater and turn off the inside of the repeater, see if I can get some semblance of maybe a shadow or something. And yeah, unfortunately I'm not seeing anything. Well, nuts. Okay, well, thanks for trying that. Let me just stop transmitting my picture. Yep, I need to do something else here. Thank you for that. Let's see. Well, after all that, I forgot what I was going to say. It wasn't anything important. Gary New Roof, I went through that a couple of years ago myself. That's not fun, and I'm afraid I need to go through some painting at the house now. It's been a few years since I had everything painted last. Yeah, it's time. I've got a bunch of outside work to do too, pressure washing and whatnot. I've been trying hard to avoid it. I don't want to, not only do I not feel well, but I want to make sure I don't catch a cold or anything. Because I have been avoiding crowds, but don't want to get anything which might be confused as whether it's a cold or the flu or the virus. So, I don't know, times are different. Hopefully this will be over in another couple of months and everything will be more or less back to normal during the summer. At least I'm keeping my fingers crossed. Good night all, back to you Dave on 7QO.
N7QO, thanks for that. Let's go on to James, WW7N in Bellevue.
Well, thank you, Dave. Well, Richard, I would describe myself as a homebody. I would describe myself more as like a living home corpse, actually. I just the last 24 months, where have I been? I've been to, Trader Joe's, Costco, the post office. That's about, I've occasionally gone out to rent a fishing game, and there's a couple of deer out there I have, pretty meaningful intellectual conversations with when I go out to the north side. And also raccoons I've got to know, much better, which if it hadn't been for the virus, I never would have done that. So, there you go. I can hardly wait for some semblance of normalcy to return. I think it's important for everyone to realize just lower chance does not mean no chance. It depends on what your personal, risk factor is, but I think, people should still wash their hands and keep the distance from each other, and I can't imagine going to sporting events. I mean, come on, what's the whole point? Is to get drunk and scream your head off and, yell at each other and spit all over each other? I mean, well, there's a game, too. I guess there's a game. You can watch that. But it that's the reason anywhere really goes. Well, Richard, obviously totally discussed it with you. But anyway, you can see how much fun I am to have sitting in front of you in the stadium. Well, anyway, okay, so like we're just a couple minutes away, so let me turn it back to Dave, our net control, and go ahead and close this net out. This is WU7N Northeast Value.
WU7N, James, thanks for that. As far as COVID goes and masks, I'd like to coin the phrase, my house is my mask. I wear my house when I'm at home. That's my mask that I have out there all the time. Well, time to sign off the net. We'd like to thank the SeaTac Repeater Association for the use of the 08 machine on WW7STR, the 08 repeater, for our nets held on Wednesdays and Saturdays between 8 and 9 o'clock. So on behalf of the Western Washington Amateur Television Society, this is Dave, KD7ZYM, signing off the net for the Western Washington Amateur Television Society on the 08 machine. Again, this is Dave, KD7ZYM. Good evening all.
N7KC disconnected.
99 IQX, testing.